I'm going to be sharing with you in this video how to stop living in an unconscious haze and just get on with your life, because there's going to be times where you want to get pulled into some old way or some haze or some thing that you've already done. And this is how most of society is actually living. And I'm not attacking you. I hope this isn't sounding like an attack. I'm part of this. But the thing is, though, is that many people are feeding the problem and letting themselves go into this unconscious haze. And most people don't even know that they're in an unconscious haze, where they're seemingly repeating the same kind of energy again and again and again and again. I'm saying that I'm part of this. We all fall into these patterns. But I'm going to be sharing with you how to avoid this in this video, how to step back into your power, and as much as possible move forward from your reality. The past is going to come up, things are going to show up, you're going to get frustrated, but to see that, find a solution, and to move on. Let's talk about that in this video. So if you're new to this channel, what I want you to do is I want you to hit that subscribe button. I want you to hit that notification bell, because I do actually post a new video every single day. Also, if you want to work with me one-on-one personally, hit the link that's in the description box of this video to apply for a free consultation. Now, the first thing that I want to share with you is to notice where you actually feel the same emotional patterns in your life. So maybe there's a certain kind of interaction that you're having with somebody that triggers a certain kind of emotion. Maybe there's something that is happening in your life that triggers a certain kind of emotion. Oftentimes when we get triggered and something comes up, we believe that we have to actually keep experiencing that trigger again and again and again. But the truth is that we can see the trigger and use our voice to that trigger. We can speak to the trigger. We can move forward from the trigger. Good analogy that I heard the other day from somebody on YouTube named Owen Cook is that actually, let's just say you fall into a pit. Let's just say you fall into a pit, right? You can get angry. You can complain, you can cry, you can scream, you can yell, and that's all fine. It's totally valid to feel all those emotions, right? It's completely valid. But at some point you have to make a choice to get out of the pit. You have to make a choice. And if you're just complaining about why you're in the pit and how you fell inside and what's not working, at some point you gotta think outside of that emotion, outside of the anger, and be like, wait, like getting angry is valid, it's okay, but it's not going to help me to get out of this pit. At some point, you have to calm yourself down, and you have to, as hard as it might be, again, there's going to be resistance, but it's like, it's just obvious at some point, like complaining and getting angry is not going to help you to move forward. It'll help you to validate why it's okay for you to feel what you feel, and that's okay. Like, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but at some point, you got to notice, like, okay, I'm complaining, I'm in this pit, and it's not working. How do I actually get out of the pit? And to stop believing in all the stories around why you can't get out of the pit. Imagine somebody walks up to you and gives you a helping hand, and it's like, hey, here, take my hand, you can get out of the pit. Just do this thing, just do this, take my hand and let's go. And you're like, no, I don't want to get out of the pit because of these reasons and those reasons. And then it's like, this is society. Society, we have consistently people giving us solutions. We have this amazing thing called the internet with all these different possibilities, all these different support systems, so many things that you can change in life, move forward, expand, feel excited, and yet we just like to focus on the same emotional patterns. It's kind of ridiculous. Like there's nothing wrong with it, but it's a little bit crazy if you think about it. It's kind of insanity. But the thing is, though, you don't want to be judging the insanity. Just see it and move forward. That's what I'm here to invite you to do, is to notice that it's happening, to see what's happening, not to turn a blind eye to it, but to understand that you're greater than that. You're worth more than repeating the same kind of experiences with the same kind of people and not allowing yourself to let that go, to let it go, because there's nothing wrong with feeling any emotion or any pattern, but it's like, how long do you want to stay there? Do you want to stay in that pattern? Do you want to stay in that emotional rut? Do you want to stay in the reactivity? Or do you want to move on with your life? And this is the unconscious haze that I'm talking about, is we like to stay attached to the old way, and it creates this sort of haze where we don't even want to move forward. So the second thing that I want to share with you is to stop blaming others and own how you feel. You know, it's very easy to point fingers out there and judge people and why they're, especially, you know, you'll notice this is when it gets really shocking, is when you start noticing that people, and just when you can notice this in yourself, when you might get defensive when somebody offers you a solution. And like, it's one thing to blame the outside world just you know, for no reason, because you're going through your own stuff and you're just blaming, complaining. That's one thing. It's another thing when somebody is offering you a solution, an actual path, a genuine, unconditionally loving path that can help you to go where you want to go, and even then you still point fingers and blame the outside world for why things are not happening the way your heart actually wants. And again, I'm not attacking you. I'm part of this. See, when I see people blaming others, I've learned to take a step back and be like, where am I doing that? I don't want to be that. I don't want to be fueling the problem. I don't want that. It's like, where am I doing that? Where am I, you know, not taking responsibility over how I feel? And this can get kind of tricky sometimes, because what can happen is that while you're telling somebody, maybe, like I've been in this experience personally, let me know in the comments down below if you've ever experienced this, where while you're like, again, this is so common, like you could be, again, it's important to look at those emotional patterns and see, like, where are you doing that? So anytime that you kind of catch yourself complaining or pushing your energy out in a way that is dishonorable to you and that person, you're noticing, like, oh yeah, I'm actually doing that. That takes a serious level of self-honesty. That takes a serious level of responsibility over how you feel, and to realize that you can't blame others for being in an unconscious haze. Let me tell you why. Because when you blame others for being in an unconscious haze, what can happen is that you become part of the problem. You become part of the unconscious haze. If you want to transcend the unconscious haze, you got to take responsibility to go back into who you really are and lead by example, right? It's like, rather than trying to help everybody get out of the pit that they've fell into, just get out of the pit and walk out and show people that it can be that simple, right? And the people that are still in the pit are going to be like, well, he just walked out. That's like, wait, so I can make a choice to not be frustrated about this and just like move on? Yes, you can. But oftentimes we just want to hold on because it's easier. Now, I'm going to say that it's easier, and that's not entirely true, because oftentimes, I'll tell you, don't think about it. It's much harder to stay in the pit. It's much more difficult to complain about why you lost in it, but it's actually a lot easier to let go of that pain and just walk out, isn't it? Think about this. People think it's going to be, oh my gosh, it's going to be so, there's all these ideas in the mind that contract our energy, where we believe that, oh, it's going to be so hard to like no, it's not going to be hard to get out of the pit. It's going to be harder to complain. Now, when you stop blaming and you step into your power and you just choose to not allow these negative frequencies to enter your field, you're going to notice that you stop being in an unconscious haze and you have much more clarity. You have much more alignment. You have much more of a vision towards where you want to go, because any past attachments, you just notice that as contradicting beliefs to where you want to go, and perhaps even lessons that you've already learned, right? There's no reason to repeat the same lesson if you've already learned it, unless you want to go keep learning it and believing that you have to. You know what I'm saying? And you can actually get out of this simply by taking responsibility. You know, last thing you want to do is take responsibility. But that's what you got to do sometimes, is don't blame the other and notice, where am I pushing out all this energy and getting lost at the unconscious haze, where I could actually be in alignment with the conscious state of being who I really want to be. That's where things are really going to start to shift for you, is when that happens. At least that's just what it was for me. Now, the third thing that I want to share with you is to always have a broader, a greater perspective than the challenge that you're in. This is something that has been very incredibly valuable to me, something that I've really found very supportive, because when we get lost in an unconscious pattern, we believe that it's like, oh, that's the end all be all, and we jump to all these conclusions and we make all these ridiculous decisions. And it's like, we got to be aware that these emotional patterns are pretty sometimes irrelevant in the greater picture. Now, I'm not saying that your emotions are wrong, but you got to also look at the long-term vision of your life and see that sometimes getting reactive is literally a waste of time. And again, it's okay, but you want to be looking at that greater vision of it. What's that greater vision? Why are you doing what you're doing? So for example, I'll give you a perfect example. Let's just say you're starting a business. And let's say you have a goal to be a really successful business owner and to have all the money that you want, or whatever it is. Everybody has different desires, right? A lot of people have challenges around this, but whatever you're trying to create doesn't have to be anything particularly around business. I'm just sharing this as a general concept that you can apply in your own way to whatever it is that you're going through. But whatever identity you're building, let's just say for example, but it could be anything, it's business, right? If you were already that kind of, and some people don't want to hear the whole like, oh, soon the wish fulfilled kind of thing, and I get that. But think about it like this, really think about this. Really think about this. If you actually were the type of person that you actually wanted to be, that didn't hold on to the negativity, didn't hold on to the resentment, didn't hold on to the anger, and you knew that you were worthy of who you actually wanted to be, would you let yourself get, like, would you let, like, not that you don't want to let yourself feel all your emotions, but let's just say you're connecting with a client, for example, a potential client, and you lose a sale. You don't close the sale, right? The business goes, something happens. Like out of this bigger picture, one day somebody doesn't buy your business deal or your program or something. Does it really matter in the bigger picture? Like, does it really matter that that one person didn't sign up for your coaching business, or that one person, that one relationship didn't work out, or that one situation didn't happen? Like, does it like, and again, we really want to attach, like, yes, it does matter, this situation, but it's like, does it really, like think about it. If you were already where you wanted to be, this, like, let's just say a business owner, for example, and some people might not resonate with this example, but depending on what you're creating, it could be for you. So I'm just feeling for whatever reason right now might not resonate for some people, but let's just say, for example, you have a business, right? And that client doesn't sign up. You would know for a fact that it doesn't matter, because tomorrow there's another client, and tomorrow there's another client, and tomorrow there's another client. You're not going to hold on and chase and get reactive to this one person. And that's what sometimes can happen, and that's what builds the unconscious haze, is like not being aligned with the bigger picture. We get hung up and we get attached to these small details, which again are valid, but oftentimes we forget the bigger picture. So all I'm saying here, no matter what you're doing in your life, no matter what you're creating, remember the bigger picture. Remember the bigger picture in terms of why you're doing what you're doing. Don't get attached to the small things. The reason why I get a little bit hesitant to share examples sometimes, and why I like to speak really general, is because everybody has different things they want to create. There's always different things that you want, you know, that's the only reason I hesitate. It's because I want this message to be supportive for you regardless of what you're creating. I want this message to be helping you regardless of whether it's business. It doesn't really matter. The key is, in my experience, to look at that bigger picture. Why you're doing what you're doing. And if you were really looking at your life from a holistic, greater perspective, would you get attached to this one thing? In my personal opinion, the answer is no. And if you do this, you're gonna feel a lot better. And with that, I conclude this video. Once again, if you wanna work with me one-on-one personally, hit the link that's in the description box of this video to apply for a free consultation. It's also gonna be in the comments of this video as well. Also, leave a like on this video, only if you want to, of course, because I do believe that actually every single person on this planet does deserve to know that they are divine creators of their reality, and actually they can manifest their reality and do so in the most effortless and easeful way possible, helping themselves and helping others in the process as well. And hitting that like button does help the YouTube algorithm push the videos out to more people, and that would be greatly appreciated. As always, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.